close to the top of the hour. I think my caffeine is totally kicked in, so bear with me.
We are recording.
Okay.
We are recording. So I'm going to go live in the Facebook group because this is going to open up in about a minute. And Facebook is always such a real pain in my ass. Share in a group. Share in a group. Yes, that's the group. And go.
Will we get to see like people pop on or?
Yeah, in the chat. Okay. And I can see that there are 3 people in the waiting room.
Right.
I'm going to say. On. I'm going to say Kim Doyal in the house.
What up?
Yeah, what up?
It's a good thing I didn't make more coffee or something.
Kim Doyal in the house. I mean, I'm really going to put that. Okay, great. We're going live. Oh, look at that. Yes. 27 seconds.
Woo-hoo.
4 attendees in the waiting room. I know we had like 18 people registered, which I think is a lot. I mean, it's probably not a lot.
Okay, sorry, I should have pushed
like,
it.
I know you're a really big deal. I know you're a really big deal. So I'm like,
yeah, that's me.
All right. So here we are, attendees in 6, and we're doing the 5-second countdown. And this is always the funny part where I'm like, who is listening? Hello.
Are they listening right now?
I guess so. Who's here? If anyone is here, please say hey in the chat. I am here with Kim Doyal, who's a fabulous human, you guys. And also this is going live on Facebook. Give us a shout if you can see us and hear us, all of that good stuff. Kim Doyal, I met Kim a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yeah.
Something to that effect. We were at a, hi, Erica. We were at a mastermind event in Santa Monica, and she gave a talk, and it was you're such a down-to-earth, easygoing human, and it was really fun getting to connect with you and kind of I do a little mild internet stalking from time to time, and Kim's, which I think we all do a little bit.
Totally,
we all have a tendency to do that, right?
Yeah.
We're all kind of stalky. Kim has done a lot of podcasting. That's how you got started, right? It was in the world of podcasting, which I know you still do.
No, I thought I was going to be an information marketing millionaire when I started in 2008 because I was going to write ebooks and just make thousands of dollars every month because it was just that easy, right?
Sure, as one does, yes.
Yeah, no, and then found WordPress and ignorance is bliss, coined the WordPress chick, not knowing I couldn't use that in a domain, but they let me for like 4 or 5 years. But no, one thing led to the other. Truly, ignorance was bliss. And it was like, I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer, but I was like, oh my God, this tool's fun. I'm going to share what I'm doing. And, I just honestly, Tara, I am just tenacious. And I was like, I have to make this work. And so I never wanted to do websites or anything. Kept going. And it was 2013 is when I started my podcast. And I only did it because I wanted to have more fun. Truly. I was like, I was like, I need to have some more fun in my business. And at that time, I had started doing coaching, and then I had developers and designers. So the next thing you know, I've got an outsourcing company, but I'd always been an audiophile. I'd listen to audio, commuting. I had books on tape. We're talking Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins back in the 90s. I totally am dating myself, but I just love audio. It's a great way for me to learn. Mm-hmm. And for a while I was a speech major and I wanted to be a motivational speaker. That was my big plan. Yeah.
I mean, you're not that far off from that, by the way.
Well, that's kind of fun, right? So that's why I figure so I get to do it without having to get ready. But it was, what was fun about it, the podcasting for me is just that, I don't know. You know what, this is a little side note. So Tara and I were talking, for you guys listening, offhand about listening to your voice and getting used to it. Well, so I lost my husband in 2003. That's part of my story. And I found a great therapist who What About Bob? If you guys have never seen that, he doesn't leave his therapist alone. But I started recording our sessions. So I was really used to my voice by the time I started podcasting, because I'm like, this is gold. I'm paying for this. And she's helpful and all this kind of stuff. So then I'm like, can I record these calls? when she retired, she's retired, by the way, like I won't let go, and moved out of the Bay Area. And so I started recording our calls and then would do in-person sessions. And so I was really used to my voice, but podcasting blew up a lot for me. And I actually have that in the slides. So that was a really long answer.
But that's a story, and I love listening to people's stories and learning about how they landed and how they got where they are. And I think what really makes an impression on me is that concept of having fun doing what you do. What do you enjoy, and really leaning into that piece of your business that you really dig. And that's what you've done. And now you have a great business that's going right now that's all centered around creating content and helping people to understand and how to structure and how to get started with creating and blasting out that content so that you can, hit your target audience and bring them back to you in ways that's helpful and valuable. And it's just really awesome to follow along. And it's really nice to see you again.
You too. I was totally thinking we have to chat outside of this afterwards.
I was going to say, we're going to have a follow-up call because we didn't really have a lot of time to catch up. So for those of you who joined us, I just want to let you know that I'm going to let Kim lead the show. This is her show, but I'm going to mute myself and disappear, but I will be here to help field questions. So if you're in Facebook and you have questions, stick something in the comments, and certainly here in the webinar itself, leave a comment or questions. Kim is very interactive and she's ready to take on any questions you might have. Also, for those of you in the webinar, and I'm going to stick a little something in the comments. This is streaming to my private Facebook group, which is called the Alchemy Business Accelerator. And that's all about helping small businesses, creating a community, and building accountability and sharing tips so that we don't all have to reinvent the wheel. So
amen.
Check that out if you're interested. Amen. That's right. We all need a village. So without further ado, Kim, I'm going to let you drive the bus.
All right, we are going to jump in, and guys, like Tara said, please feel free to jump in. And I talk kind of quickly, so slow me down or have me back up. There's a lot. I'm just going to let you know too. And Tara, I don't know if you can download the slides from here. I'm happy to give you the PDF if anybody wants this for later, because they are.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Chock-a-block. So, all right, so I'll make sure you get the PDF. So, like Tara said, I am Kim Doyal, and we're going to go over 7 steps to profiting with your content, 7 steps to creating, promoting, and profiting with your content. Sorry, can't even read my own slides. All right, so you're in the right place if you create content, whether it's written, audio, or video, and you're frustrated with the whole monetization thing, which I clearly was, and you want your content to start converting to sales. Or it's possible you're getting results from your content, but you want more leads and customers, right? I mean, we can all get traffic or we get shares and likes. I don't know if anybody comments. I always try to comment on posts. I think we need to bring that back. But maybe your sales are primarily coming from paid traffic or your group or referrals. And to Tara's point, this is kind of fun. You set this up. You're tired of reinventing the wheel every time, right? So we've got some great stuff for you. Here's what you're going to learn by hanging out today. This is a very specific, proven 7-step process to create, promote, and profit with your content. And again, you guys will get all the slides. So the 7 steps are in here, and I've got examples of each. The one thing you need to do to have your audience start telling you what kind of content they want from you, the secret to promoting your content so you get the very best customers and generate the most revenue. This literally changed my business. And the mistake that most people make with promoting their content, and I did this too, it's going to kill your sales, and what you can do instead. I keep going up to the right. I'm sorry, you guys, to click the slides. Can I just use, Tara, I think you're on mute, but can I use my arrow keys? I'm assuming I can.
I think so. Give it a try. See what it does.
Right. It's not going to break anything. All right. So a little bit of my story. You guys, that is my less wrinkled picture. That was my first profile photo on Facebook, if that tells you anything. So a little bit of my story. I started online in 2008. First, I don't know if anyone knows this, I was the self-help chick. I am a voracious reader and love inspirational, motivational, like all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would make money. I should have told you this, like money with AdSense on the self-help chick. I think that site's even up, but it's super, super old. Then the WordPress chick, and then I've pivoted to my personal brand, Kim Doyal. And you guys, like, I really had no idea what I was doing. And I'm going to tell you this. Sorry, I'm totally yelling. Tell me if I'm too loud. But I just like, I don't know. I'm so hyper today. It's Friday.
Sometimes you have to yell. Sometimes you just yell.
Sometimes you got to yell. So like, I was not technical at all, you guys. Oh, Erica, you made my day. But literally, like, I was like, how do you attach something to an email? Truly. And then I decided I was the WordPress chick. So, ignorance is bliss. I really thought I was going to build this business selling ebooks. Instead, I built a list of freebie seekers. I didn't have influencer connections. And I truly struggled for a really long time with the imposter syndrome. And I think I kind of do still. I don't know that we ever get over that. Oh, it worked. Okay. So I'm kind of jumping around here, but what you're looking at, like, I went all in with like the high ticket masterminds, right? So you're looking at like, I did a hot air balloon. We raced Ferraris. I don't know if you guys know Garrett White. That was the first funnel hacking conference. Russell Brunson, Maui. That was on a jet my friend chartered. Like, it's so funny. Like, so you do all these things and they were awesome adventures. I love them. However, I kind of had to come back to what I knew was right for me, and which was creating. Like, I've always had this love. Like, I was an art major for a while. Clearly I had like 12 majors, Tara. Like, I was a speech major, but all these things that I've done that are just kind of who I am, I had to come back to that, right? So I went back to creating hundreds of podcast interviews, new relationships, strategies that I learned from thousands of hours of research and conversations. I love it. Addicted to school. But yeah, like, I tapped into the secrets and methods that resonated with me, because you guys, there's so much information. I have 2 hashtags that I use that I don't know if I've got them both in here. One is just show up, and the other one is everything is content. And I truly live by those, right? So I decided I'm going to go back to taking the best of what worked for me, what I learned, and I'm going to implement it and do what feels right. So then I put my own unique spin on it. Apologies too. I moved to Boise, Idaho in March, and I have literally been on a permanent allergy thing here. So were there mistakes and setbacks? Absolutely. And I will share some of the biggest mistakes later on that cost me a bunch of money. So FYI, no one is a special snowflake that learns those lessons the hard way. But the cool thing is that success started to happen. And truly, podcasting changed everything for me. And the whole thing with the podcast, and where I was saying to you also, Tara, that, I started it because I wanted to have more fun in my business. I will tell you that every single thing I've done from that place has made me money. Every time I get excited about something because it brings me joy, like I'm getting goosebumps. It brings me joy. It makes me happy. And I don't have an expectation attached to it, has been the most profitable for me. And, like, if you've listened to the podcast, I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at my episodes. I think it's probably close to 300. And here's the other thing. I'm going to be super transparent here. My life has been all over the place. Like, we all have those times in our lives. So I've had times where I didn't publish something for 2 months. During the initial phase of podcast, I was super consistent. But that's the beauty of connecting and building with an audience and sharing, right? So when I'm transparent about things that have been difficult in my life, or I need to take a break or step back, my audience isn't gone, right? Because you build that trust and relationship. And I think for me, podcasting was just a natural flow. I don't mind being on camera, but I don't want to have to do my hair and makeup every day. Okay. So here's a little bit of information about the podcast. This was sort of my, vulnerability can totally be the glue, Tara. The podcast for me also created this. It's so funny. Like, I never knew how much I enjoyed writing until I began podcasting, because I write out my solo shows first, because you guys can hear how I talk. I would be off script the entire time and not remember the point I was starting with. So, but a little bit of data for you. So initially, my podcast became within 3 months, it was one of my top 3 traffic sources. And I started the podcast in 2013, I'll tell you that. But over 300,000 downloads. And this was created, I don't know, a while ago. I had paid sponsorships. People came to me. Like, at the time when I started the podcast, I think there was maybe 3 or 4 other WordPress podcasts. I ended up with 24,000 in coaching clients. I had web clients coming to me all the time. Podcast clients. So something else I did because of the podcast, we did a high ticket done for you podcast service. And so because I had the evidence, right? Like, I'd had my own successful podcast and the results from it. Like, I feel like I could sell anybody on a podcast. And so all of those things came just from that one type of content, so it was not also my primary source of income, just a side note. So fast forward to today, and I've sold more in digital products truly this year, 2020, than in the previous 5 years combined. I pivoted to my personal brand, and all of the content that I create supports where I'm going, meaning it's working for me. And I'll tell you, because I've had some challenges with that. I need to update this. The amazing community of Facebook creators is actually over 6,000 now. I've had opportunities for speaking, interviews, product contributions, book forwards. It's kind of crazy, partnerships. But truly, you guys, like, my time is my own. I was just telling Tara that I moved to Boise. My kids are both out on their own. I'm like, literally, like, I don't have any family here. I'm like, my time is 100% mine. It's kind of gold. But a consistent sale of products. So one thing I'll tell you with this content piece is, so I have the Content Creators Planner brand, and I'm going to get into that. And then I've got Kim Doyal. The tricky thing that I've really taken my time with, and I just want to express this to anybody when it comes to content, is the best thing you can do is to step away from the computer and stop looking at what other people are doing and kind of go within and really see what resonates with you. Because I have two brands that speak about content, and I'm cautious to not cannibalize one for the other. But the planner has just been this gold, not a gold ticket, because the income has been up and down, and I will share too, like my business partner, Jody Hirsch. I think some of you guys might be in WP Elevation. Could not do this without her. So let's jump in. I'm not going to read all these to you guys, but these are all testimonials. You guys know what this is all about. And so here's a great testimony. I'll read this one. This is from one of our Content Creator Planner customers. The planner and course are life-changing. There's so much noise out there and so many people charging insane amounts for information. I bought this after looking at the ad maybe 15 times on Facebook. So FYI, in terms of retargeting and continuing to show your ads, I feel like I finally have a direction and some control over my inspiration. I'm really glad I bought this. Thank you. So, this is just a little bit about helping people. And you guys, we have never, I think it wasn't until like 2 weeks ago, did we request testimonials for our Trello product. So this, like, the whole thing for me with content is this is the freedom that it provides me, right? So these pictures, top left, those are my kids. Last couple of years, I got back into art and watercolors, and that's hanging out the pool. It's my mom, who passed away a year ago. And I was able to take the time to step away. Like, I don't know what I would have done without Jody for the planner with that. But my life is mine and my freedom. And then, of course, my pups, who I adore. So my entire business and life changed as a result of focusing on content. And you guys, trust me, if I can do it, so can you. It is all about the system. So a couple things to keep in mind. And you guys, I know I'm going super fast. I apologize. So just tell me to slow down. Yeah, it's because Jody did all the shipping. So take your content one day at a time. Like, everything, Jody and I joke around all the time that everything takes us longer than we think, right? It's like, oh, I can do this. Or I'm like, yeah, I'll have that done. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm still working on that. Or I'm still working on that. And you guys all work in the online space. You get that. Okay, thank you, Erica. But you get that it's like, you touch this and then you've got to touch this and this and this and this, right? So just take it one day at a time. Overthinking is not a requirement. So here are some goals for your content marketing, right? Number one is that it needs to help people. It should solve their problems and connect with them. Number two, it needs to generate traffic and revenue. I mean, content takes time, right? You want to turn your fans and your audience into customers while bringing in new ones. Content truly can generate revenue for years while you sleep. That old, mystery of passive income when you learn to create good content 15 years later. You want to provide as much value as possible. And again, the goal is to help people. So that bears repeating. So here are some content myths. And you guys, if you were to look back, and I think it's still up there, the first post I ever wrote on the WordPress chick was heinous. It sounds like a robot wrote it. It's like a paragraph. There's no links. There's no formatting. There is no nothing. And I'm like, who wrote that? But guess what? I published. So that is that just show up. One of my other new favorite sayings, you like how I have to quote myself in my own webinar, is you're not going to get better at something by not doing it. So just do it. Number two, I can't get all the technical pieces working. Who am I to teach something? I'm not an expert. There's already a lot of content on my subject available. Creating content takes too much time and can be overwhelming. Nobody becomes a customer through content. My content has to be perfect. I'm going to call bullshit on anybody that I'm a perfectionist. Just ship it. Seth Godin, Godin or Godin. I'm going to make up names now. I'm not ready to get started, or I want to create content, but I have no idea where to start and what to publish, right? So everyone falls into two categories. This is kind of my experience. You know exactly what type of content to create, go you, and how to promote it, but maybe you're not doing it consistently. You don't have the time, or you don't have that framework in place to do, publish, convert, sell, for lack of a better term. Or you're not sure what type of content to create or where to begin when it comes to promoting and profiting from content. Or maybe you do, but you're afraid to pull the trigger. Okay, so these are the 7 steps. And so I'm going to go through each one, and there's sample content that you get to see. So the first, my favorite, right? Everything is content. There is a correct way to repurpose content. You need to stop pushing it everywhere. Jody, we're going to have to get t-shirts too, because Jody has sayings that I like to repeat everywhere. One of them is, what would easy look like? And it's like, what can you do well, but do less frequently and get more leverage out of, right? The content that people actually want from you, it's not what you think. How to consistently create content quickly. The easiest promotion that builds anticipation and excitement. And I'll tell you how that turned into subscribers and sales for me. How your content pre-sells your customers, and how all of your content can actually drive sales. All right, so number 1. So everything is content. This is where you're just going to share, right? So these 2 posts that I'm showing you, the one on the left was running a business when life goes sideways and my secret project. So that was August 9th, 2018. And it's fine. I'd have to go back and listen to the sideways. I have a feeling I went through some challenging years with my son when he was in high school. That's what I was talking about there. And the secret project was the Content Creators Planner. So we're looking at 2018, right? Now, I did a full episode and I just shared and talked about that. And then doing a podcast episode after my mom passed away, it's a tearjerker if you want to listen to it. But I shared. I felt a responsibility to explain my absence, where I was, and it's a connecting piece, right? So sharing what is going on in your life is a perfectly acceptable way to connect with your audience, and it's great content. The other type for everything is content is to document. I'm sure you guys have heard Gary Vee say this. What you're looking at, so this is a screenshot, and I didn't tell Jody that I had done this, but you guys, we've got some of the most fun stories was creating this planner, like a 6-hour session on Skype where Jody's ears were going to fall off her head. But it was like, we have all this behind the scenes stuff. And so we would draw stuff out and talk it out. And so this was the first layout that Jody had created and of our weekly content planner. These are 2 spreads. Yeah, the headphones were too tight. These are the weekly spreads. There's a whole bunch of pages, but you can see the red notes, right? So we had documented it. So I shared it in the Facebook group, and it was like instantly people are like, oh my gosh, this looks great. And this is fit, like we had massive validation because I was just sharing what we were creating. So document what you're doing and share it. It is one of the easiest, most interesting types of content. Like the polished stuff is great, but sharing is my favorite. And then obviously creating with a specific intention. So on the left-hand side, I've got this WordPress quiz builder plugin. It was a step-by-step guide. There's 6 videos. I had downloads, and I have some other examples. And the one on the right is the detailed blog post checklist, which is printable. And to the point of getting leverage out of things you created, right? Within the content planner, we have a 2-page spread of content types checklist. So there's 8 types of content, and we go through like making sure you have, certain elements included. So obviously in a blog post, you've got a headline, a subheading, you've got an alt tag, all those types of things, right? So we were talking about this and I said, God, printables and tangibles, people are really digging this, hence our physical planner. And so I said, why don't I do like an in-depth post? And I put the printable in brackets. So people are like, oh, I'm going to get something, right? So that headline tells them, right? And all I did, guys, was I took that checklist, we put it into something printable, and then I explained how to use those elements, what they meant. And the goal is to get all 8 done. I have 1. But creating something with intention, right? So all of this falls under everything is content. Number 2, the correct way to repurpose content. I think a lot of people think of repurposing and just pushing it everywhere, getting on a schedule, and it's like a set it and forget it, right? But the correct way to repurpose content is that you want to think about the context and how you feel. So what am I creating? Where do I like to share it? Where is my audience? What is sustainable? Is this something you can keep up with? And where do you get the best results? You guys, I've got a decent size audience on Twitter. I don't remember what it is. It's over like 22,000. I'm never on Twitter. I push content there. My audience, I tend to engage most on Facebook. I just don't have the bandwidth. I'm not saying I'm not telling you not to share to all the platforms, but show up where it works for you. So the point with that is that context, right? You want to think of those bullet points when you're repurposing your content. And, some things work better on certain platforms than others. Just take your time with it and pay attention to what works. Number 3, what type of content people actually want from you? And this is where it's not what you think, right? So this is another example of a post I did. Gosh, this was 2017, I think. So I wrote, this started as an email. And this is the other thing, guys, email marketing, which I'm going to invite myself back there. I'd love to talk about email marketing with you guys because there's so much power. Like I've done the almost daily emails where I write every day. Jody and I have now started an official newsletter that we do once a week. I like doing the story type emails, but we've really dug into that follow-up, that nurture sequence and staying connected, right? So this was an email I sent out, and it was the anniversary of my husband's passing. He passed away in 2003, and it was like 2017. And what hit me, this was a Sunday, was that it wasn't the first thing on my mind when I woke up. It hit me a few hours later what the day was. And you guys, I was so grateful to be on the other side of it, right? Like it's a bittersweet thing, but it was so nice to be like, wow, we're on the other side. My kids and I got through this. We're good. Life is good, right? So the email was just to share that your dreams are worth pursuing. If I can do this, so can you. Like, don't give up that was it. And what I'm going to tell you is that has been on my about page ever since I started this. It's a part of my story. I feel like everybody knows that piece. I've told that story enough. But they didn't. So I sent this email on a Sunday and I got like 30 responses within an hour. And I was like, I'm going to publish this as a blog post. So then I did. And so I got 17 comments, which remember I was saying, who comments, 280 shares that day, you guys. So the point is, this was a connecting piece. So I want you to think when you're writing content, it doesn't always have to come from that place of I've done my SEO keyword research. I've got the links. I've got this. I've got that. All of these pieces of content fit together, so you don't have to always be in a space of, I need this to be tactical, because connecting with your audience is a huge piece of this. Here's another one, right? So you're looking at this. This was my friend Allegra, who had really dug into Pinterest and was getting massive traffic. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, we all know Pinterest is a search engine. Jody was saying it's almost always the more personal stuff that grabs people. Her top post is about turning 50 and her business turning 25 the same year. Totally agree. But I'm just showing you, this was in a private group. And this was probably 2 years ago. But we had 600 people viewing this, 179 comments. It was engaging, right? And so sometimes we think it has to be something more formal. And all I did was, can you just share? She didn't have a super formal presentation. I'm like, just share what you're doing and how it's working, right? Number 4, how to consistently create content quickly. And I'm going to just be super direct here too. I am not a fan of, like you see all these templates and stuff. And what if we had a done for you calendar, for a year? Here's another example. I knew some people that would do video, right? And you would pay them like 10 or 15 grand. You go to them or they come to you, you shoot all these videos, and then they repurpose it to your YouTube channel. Or I think it was Ping June had done this whole, like, I shoot 120 videos in 3 days. My team chops them up. They do And I was like, okay, let's slow your roll. First of all, that's like exhausting to me. Second of all, that serves you, not your audience. End of story. And what do you think? Here's another perfect example. What do you think that those people who had done that, and I don't know who those people are, right? But if you had planned out your entire content for 2020 and set it on auto publish, would it be tone deaf? Probably, right? And I'm not saying you need to be talking about all of the shit show that is happening this year. But the point is, you have to be cognizant and pay attention. Exactly. A pandemic hits, and it's like, all right, how do we do this? Is this the right time to sell? So, the quickly piece of content is more of the engagement and sharing piece. So let's jump in. So I like I said, I focus on picking one platform, a place, and a type of content that you can focus on mastery. Sorry, I was looking at it says your network is unstable. Am I good? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Practice instead of perfection, ask, then listen, and hit publish. So this, like you guys can see, this is a webinar that I've presented before, and that's just a screenshot with my phone. I do a lot of that. And like when Jody and I were working on the planner, we were on Zoom multiple times a week, and it was like, take a picture. I do a lot of that stuff, right? So the creating quickly is the timely stuff that's happening that connects you with your audience today and with what's going on, right? So here's some other examples. Again, my dogs, sorry, I do actually have a life besides my dogs, but the drawings, and all of these were phone pictures. So that was drawing of the planner before Jody went in and designed it after we'd had discussions. Then, yes, they are my fur babies. And I am one of those annoying people that gets a little bit nutty about pumpkin spice season. So that was my first pumpkin latte of the season. And then here, Jody and I were on a Zoom call, right? So I took a picture here, like, look at all the notes you can see. So it's sharing the creation. And I'll tell you that's why the planner was able to do what it did when we launched it. So, Christina, I'm jealous. I'd love to have a life outside my dogs. Although I say that, but I'm like, it's kind of my life. All right. So the easiest promotion that builds anticipation and excitement. All right. This was such a happy accident, you guys. So what this was is it was a free course that I have called Content Traffic Kickstarter. I don't know why everything that I have has such wordy names, but Content Traffic Kickstarter, the point of it was just a new lead gen and to get people who are interested in content. It's a natural, Russell Brunson says that value ladder, or next stepping stone. And I'll tell you, this is going to now be moved to a paid course when I flip my site here pretty quickly. So what I did was I started sharing screenshots. Like I'm a Google person, right? And so I have this little spreadsheet and I mapped out the modules and the lessons, and it was just me tracking stuff. And then I have me working on the slides. I take these screenshots, share them in my group again, and all of a sudden I'm building up anticipation. And I'm going to show you more examples of that. But this whole process that I did with this, I ended up with over 500 people in 10 days organically to sign up for this. And you guys, the group was a lot smaller. I didn't have the content creators planner list, and I know I've been around a little bit, but it was just because I kept putting this stuff out there. Same thing, like these colors are not our colors, right? But my mistake that probably cost me a load of money. Is there a ladder dog? But a boatload of money. I had people wait list saying this is coming, and there was no get early notification. We did that with the planner, right? So you could see while we're working on it, the second we started sharing it, it was like sign up for early notification coming soon. And again, not our colors, anything, but we did it anyways. Okay, so this is where your content is going to pre-sell your customers, right? So here now, this is all the slides for the Content Traffic Kickstarter course. I got into the longest dialogue with somebody on Instagram because I posted this on Instagram. I'm like, I'm going to take a picture with my phone. I'm going to post this. And they're like, how are you making that? What are you doing with it? And I'm like, it's just Google Slides, right? But you can see even look at the GIFs in here, oh my God. And what this did is this instills a sense of excitement in people. At the same time, it's like, wow, if you're doing this for free, it's that whole psychology behind why we do what we do. What does your paid stuff look like, right? And this is that connection piece. And so it's really tough. And I don't know if I preface this. When I said earlier on, and I'm sorry, this is Kim off script. When I said earlier on that I went back to the things that work for me, I made a commitment to myself. I'm like, I'm going to focus on the fundamentals. I'm going to get good at direct response marketing. I want to become I wouldn't call myself a copywriter, but I want to understand this. I want to understand why people buy. I want to understand why this works. And that's when I tested that story style email, which I kind of fell in love with. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to email Monday through Friday, it was crickets for 30 days. And then all of a sudden stuff started picking up and I was getting responses. And I had one of my affiliate products kicked in, and that was like, I don't know, it tripled affiliate income for one product that I use, right? So just keep in mind that all of this stuff, it's the basics and understanding. Like, so really understand why people buy, why they sign up, why they learn to trust you. And so I did another piece, right? I did a full podcast episode on why I launched a totally free course. So this is something I'd already done. I just shared the story. It wasn't like having to go out and reinvent the wheel. Number 7 is how all of your content can drive sales. Okay, so again, coming back to this as an example. So we've got the Thrive Quiz Builder, which this post is kind of old, no doubt, but obviously there's affiliate links in that post. But it was free. Like I did 6 videos, how to do it. You can see down here, here's how to get the plugin itself. And then, both of these, but in the post, I have a couple links that I gave them. I just created a PDF, like here's your pre-checklist so that when you go to make a quiz, you already have it planned out and you know the sequential order that stuff has to happen. And I didn't require an opt-in for that. On the Content Creators Planner, this one on the right-hand side, we created a Trello board, exact same framework and strategy. We took what we have in the actual planner, we put it into Trello because people wanted a way to collaborate with their teams. They asked for it. And so I'm pre-selling our Trello board product before I get it out there, right? And it's a $59 product. It's got like 33 videos with it. But the day we emailed our list, we did over $2,000 in sales of the Trello board. So it's letting people know and keeping them informed and just connecting. And all we did was say, look, you guys asked for it. Here it is. So this is another piece of it, right? So I don't remember which post this was, but I'm just showing within it, like all your content. I'm linking to the free course. I'm linking to a paid class. And I'm going to tell you this paid class, the first time I did it was a one-off, and I've now completely redone it. It's coming out. It's like 6 modules. But the point is, List Explosion is based on what I did when I launched Content Traffic Kickstarter. So I took everything I did that helped me get those 500 subscribers in 10 days, and I put it into a course and I taught it. And so stepping back, then I'm like, God, this was so valuable. So now I've gone super deep with that, right? But you see how everything I'm doing is kind of tying to itself. I'm not reinventing the wheel. And I'm sorry, I've probably said that like 12 times now. So here are just some fun facts on content. Remember, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. That's kind of one of my mantras. I told you my free course generated over 500 subscribers in less than 10 days. Personally, I hadn't run paid traffic in a couple of years. This was on Kim Doyal. We run paid traffic regularly for the planner. But my content generates money. You guys, I've not promoted anything, and I get affiliate payments every month. I had sold 5 spots to 197 course by mentioning it in the email. And I'm like, you guys, I'm going to do this. I'm only going to take 10 people the first time. Instantly, 5 people were like, I want it. Send me a link. And then again, the podcast content resulted in sponsorship, coaching, and clients. So a few more quick tips. And I've got some other slides for you. You don't have to be someone else or a brilliant copywriter to write content that connects with your audience. I think most people, I've heard this so many times that people who listen to my podcast are like, I can totally hear you when I'm reading your content. And I have to give more props to Jody. She's definitely, improved my editing and writing skills. You make me a better person, Jody. Okay. Consistency matters. Being you matters. When you're inspired, document what you're doing. You guys, it's really that simple. And there's those times then when you take the time to write and do something kind of epic. Jody, God bless her, I think it's 8,000 word post, and it's how to do a complete marketing checkup. You guys, it's free on the Content Creators Planner site. She edited it down to 5,200, but it is this amazing tutorial that has got SEO value. It links to other content. We've got a call to action in it, so you never know. I just did a post on my site, and it was 50 lessons in 50 years, a birthday reflection, right? And that was over 5,000 words. And I had a ton of fun with it. It's an hour, 20 minutes. I'm going to warn you. But when you're inspired, document what you're doing. Using a system and framework will save you tons of time and stress while increasing the bottom line. So content rocks, obviously, we believe it. It's fun, and it really can transform your business and your life. And I'll tell you the other piece of this, when you're creating content for your business based on, I'm gonna get a little woo-woo here, but like you're in alignment with your own personal values. I have this thing that I teach in our content masterclass, and it's core content values, right? So my goal with my content is I want people to feel better for having spent time with me, whether they learned something, whether it touched their heart, or they were entertained. I use a lot of self-deprecating humor, so hopefully we can have some fun too. But that, I know that whatever I do is coming from that place. So when I start ranting, I don't publish. I may write and get it out of my body, but that's not necessarily going to make someone feel better, right? So I always come back to that. I believe with every ounce of my being that if you're here today, you have amazing content within you. I think we all do. You guys, everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. And even if you've told your story, don't assume that everybody knows it. This is kind of wordy. Just remember, nothing I've shared with you is theory or it might work. This is stuff I practice. We practice with the planner. We help people every day create content, and we just keep upping our game by testing it and watch. You guys, that's the easiest way to get better at doing this. We've got a really exciting continuity that we're putting together because of listening to our customers for a year and a half. Tell us what they need, where they get stuck. We both hop on phone calls. Every now and then we'll get a customer that's like, I don't see how this connects with this. And I'm like, well, let's get on Zoom. That's how we find stuff out. And exactly, Jody said, often we're solving our own problems and then sharing what we did to help others. You guys, that's that whole document piece, right? And just show up. That hashtag, you guys, you're just showing up is half the battle. And I can honestly tell you that who you become in the process of doing this is priceless. So just remember, this is all about providing value, solving a problem, connecting with people, driving free traffic that converts, growing your audience, generating revenue, turning your audience into customers, consistent revenue. I have to tell you, it's funny. We just did a whole new G Suite. You guys are technical, so I can tell you this for the planner, Content Creators Planner. And so I have to go into a different inbox. I really miss seeing like that notification of payment in my other inbox. But providing value, no matter what the end goal is, there's different ways you can provide value. So don't get stuck that you have to be teaching, because at the same time, I felt like I did that a lot with the WordPress check. I was like, here's how to do this with WordPress, and here's how to do that, and here's this plugin. And it was like, and I didn't sell. And if I could recommend anything, it's sell as soon as you possibly can. So again, I'm just going to reiterate the 7 steps. Everything is content. The correct way to repurpose content. Remember, just think context, how you feel and where you're consuming that piece of content. What type of content people actually want from you. Again, it's not really what you think all the time. How to consistently create content quickly. I need to take a sedative, I think. The easiest promotion that builds anticipation and excitement. How your content pre-sells your customers, and how all of your content can drive sales. So I'm not going to get into this why you showed up today, right? There's the whole point with content. We ask people when they join our Facebook group, what's your biggest challenge with content? And we stopped collecting answers a long time ago because they're redundant. I run out of ideas, which we're working on an ideas workshop. I run out of ideas. I don't know how to be consistent. I think people need to stop attaching expectations to what this is all supposed to look like. Just keep going, you guys. That's all. I wish I had like a magic pill. Like I've just kept going, right? And you pivot and you course correct and you learn along the way. A couple other things. So if there's one thing to take away, when I've cracked the code on creating, promoting, and profiting with content. That is such a mouthful. But truly, you guys, content has changed my world and our students and our customers. It is very replicable. And I'll tell the other thing, guys, like I don't always feel like creating content, but you do it anyways, right? And if you've not read The War of Art, I highly recommend it. You really can increase your revenue and make a lot of money with your content when you do it strategically, right? Okay, this is great. Christina, I don't know if this is all right, I'm going to read it, but she has a website for a non-custodial parent advocacy website. She said she solved her own struggles as a non-custodial parent, and then started talking about it to help others. You guys, that's it. So this is, okay. So the obvious question, you might be wondering, how do I do this, right? Or how do you apply this? You always have a choice, which you guys, that's another one of my mantras. Clearly, you would think I have sticky notes of mantras everywhere, but I get to choose, right? So I get to choose how I approach this. I can decide I'm going to enjoy creating content, or I can decide I'm not going to. Either way, I have to do it. You can do it slowly using trial and error, or you can do it quickly with the Content Creators Planner. So when in doubt, quote someone famous, you can't be heard if you're not communicating. I have a love-hate relationship about Gary Vee. I haven't listened to him in a long time, but there's no doubt, neither of us are big advocates on just more. I don't think the answer is always more content. I think it's better quality that you can get leverage from, right? So what is the Content Creators Planner? This beautiful book that Jody has designed. So how this works, we've got it set up. So there's a couple different pieces, and I'll show you the actual pages. What we've done in the book is we have a fictitious business. You'll see this Ultimate Day Spa Salon that walks you through. But the point of the Content Creators Planner is that you're creating purpose-driven content that gets results. You're creating content based on your business goals, right? So here's an example. So you start in the book with your monthly campaigns. This is the first page. I probably need to do a better screenshot. But so over here, you start on the left, you've got your goals for the month. So in this example, I used our planner brand, right? So we want to sell 100 planners off the website. This is before we were spending a boatload in traffic. Number 2, 300 new email subscribers. Number 3, we're going to launch a podcast, which will drive email subscribers. So the goal of the month, those are the 3 goals. And whether or not you hit all the goals, remember, you can carry these over. I'm trying to get people to understand this isn't about like packing your planner full. It's about creating a strategy that supports your business goals so that when you go to create content, that there's kind of a why behind it. But I will tell you also that sometimes I publish just because I feel like I've got something I want to say. But that makes me happy. So that works, right? Number 2, here, the second box to the right, this content topics. So these are the topics that we can create content on that support our business goals. So we can tell the story of creating a physical planner, right? That will support, we'll have a call to action that supports either email subscribers and or sales. Measuring your content marketing. So that would be like Jody's epic post that she's done. It's, it's that old, what is the quote? 2 out of 3 we did. Yeah. What is the quote of you can't grow something you haven't measured? I'm totally botching that. But these are all the topics, right? So measuring content marketing, the podcast launch, which we haven't done yet. And then the story guide on journaling, on the journaling space. Haven't done that either. That is for a little, what gets measured grows. Thank you. Jody's always much more succinct. But the whole reason that this planner came about is because I'd gotten in a bullet journal and was like, okay, this is way too structured, but I fell in love again with pen and paper and all that good stuff, right? So started testing it and I started sharing. And this is where the testing of stuff is really fun, you guys. So I'm just going to show you, this is totally off script. So I have this journal here and I'm trying to, what do I want to share? Here we go. Like just doodling, right? And so I took this and instead of getting really involved, thank you, Christina. But what I did, so I just started taking pictures of what I was doing. One day it might be a funnel. The next day I'm like, what do I want my life to be like the big law of attraction goals, right? And so I tested posting those 3 pieces of content as Instagram stories. The one story that I shared with the hashtag journaling got like over 500 views. The other 2 got like 40. I don't have a huge Instagram following, you guys. Like I have like 2,700 people. And I was like, there's totally something to this journaling space, which then opened this whole world for me that I had no idea was so big, whether it's online journaling or bullet journaling or people doodling and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, that led to the idea for the Content Creators Planner. So my point is don't be afraid to step outside of your sharing, outside of your business piece, right? That was this whole piece that I still want to create a piece of content on about the journaling space. I want to tag people. I want to reach out to influencers to see, can we tap into that audience, right? Because we haven't done that yet. So the calls to action, and I'm going to try and speed this up, would be a lead magnet. So we can do a website overlay, in content, exit pop. We can have a webinar on a content strategy, right? Which we could sell a planner subscription. We don't actually have a subscription, but we do have like a buy 3, get 1 free. And the other call to action is to join our Facebook group. And lastly, this offer end goal, which I think in version 2 will change to product for sale or something. But what are you doing? What is the offer that's going to put money in your pocket and solve a problem, right? That's what this offer end goal. So you create your goals. You write down the content topics that are going to support those goals. What is the call to action to get that name and email address? And then what are you going to sell them once you have it, right? This is the content strategy map. So you can see this is where you drill down. Sorry, it's blurry. But taking that one goal of adding new subscribers, here's the content type. We're going to do a blog post, a podcast, or a live stream. Here's the specific content. We're calling it primary content, meaning what's the main piece you're creating. Not everything that you do from that perspective will be cornerstone content, which is an SEO term. And then here's all the micro content. Here's all the repurposing and then the social shares and where you're going to do it and what you're going to do, right? So that's what you're planning out here. Here are the content types checklist. Let me get the mouse off. Then we've got the monthly calendar. We've got topics, campaigns, promotions, funnels, sales goals. And the monthly calendar is really like what's happening in my business this month, right? So as an example for Jody and I, August, what's happening in August? Okay, we're launching our continuity. We're doing a reboot of the Facebook group, and it's really going to be branded along with the planner. So we've got a couple things. So those are our big goals. And then maybe we incorporate, we've got our newsletter on Sunday, or we've got this and that. You know what I'm saying? So you get to decide. But the monthly content calendar is more of an overview of your business. And then the weekly content calendar really gets into the specifics, right? So we get into, sorry, I'm trying to use the mouse and then it gets away. But you get into the goal for the day. Do you have a blog? And you can't see it, but is it outline, draft, publish, edit? We've got email. Are you sending an email broadcast that day? And I'm going to tell you guys, the more often you email, the better. I love email marketing. I've gotten used. We've had one person since we launched the Content Creators Planner say you guys send way too much email. Excuse me. And that's probably because she's in a nurture sequence. And then you're mapping out your social. And then the bottom, we have some blank boxes for weekly tracking. And over here, this left-hand column, this thought starter. So as an example, maybe this week, so here's a great example. We are working on our continuity, and I know it's we'll reveal all later. But so maybe that week, a thought starter could be like, all right, rough draft or start coming up with ideas for promotion or, those thought starters, little things that maybe are part of a project to do, or it's research hashtags for X. Those are kind of the thought starters perspective. But the bottom boxes are for you to track whatever you want. We do have very specific, and I'll show you monthly and quarterly statistics to track. But some people said they want to track weekly. So that was kind of what we created those for. So here's your monthly statistics. And I always look at this in my head that the left-hand side is like the money page. The right-hand side is the traffic page, even though traffic equals profits too, right? But we talk about sales, product, and you're basically looking at what type of product is it and what are my goals? What did I do last month, this month? So we've got, sales, email marketing, messenger if you use that, paid promotions for traffic. And then again, here's measuring all your traffic and highest performing content on the right-hand side. And then we do like 2-page monthly review. We've got some questions and prompts because it's really important to sit back. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency to be like, well, that's not work, right? Like sitting and thinking and drawing, but it really is like what worked, what didn't, and what can you even pull over into the next month, right? And then the quarterly statistics, it's the same thing. You just select, which quarter. Oh, sorry. Clearly I can't learn with the mouse. But you select which quarter, and then you're compiling the 3 months ahead of time. So this was, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's just gold. HubSpot has a statistics page that they update like with just killer data. So this is the current state of content marketing. And it's inbound marketing, right? All of this is content marketing, and you can just see the increase. And this may be like a year old, so I'd have to update this, but it's not going anywhere, right? Like Seth Godin, I'm pretty sure he said content marketing is the only marketing left. So that's it. Get your planner, contentcreatorsplanner.com. And now we can hit questions.
I have questions. Who in the group has questions? I have so many questions, but I want to see what you guys have to say in the Q&A here.
I'm turning on a little desk fan, so tell me if you guys can hear it and it's loud. Can you hear it? Is it noisy?
I hear nothing. No, I hear nothing at all. Okay, well, you guys pull your questions together. I want to make a few comments, and I've had an opportunity. I have one of these content planners at my desk. I actually have it right here.
I think you got one of those sample ones. Oh no, you got the good one. You did. Okay, good.
I got the good one. I mean, it's, oh, okay. Jody would like us to turn off the screen share so that we can see you, so that she can see us better.
Yeah, all it is those questions.
There we go. This book is chock full of all kinds of good stuff. And I have to say, what's really lovely about what's happening in the Content Creators Planner is that you get this high level view and you're forced to check in on what's happening with your business, what's happening with your audience. I would say similar to dealing with money concepts, right? Like, I bury my head in the sand. It's one of my favorite things to do, is to bury my head in the sand when it comes to money, right? Like, you see it as a reflection of who you are as a person, which of course is not true. And you need to use it as a tool. And I think it's similar with content, and it's similar with figuring out what people are interested in and really taking a close look at those analytics and the data that's being pulled from the various kinds of engagement, and always looking to shift and pivot. Right? Always seeing those things as opportunities. So it's lovely because you drill down to the more granular pieces of the strategy. And then you also build in a lot of opportunity for spontaneous posts. And like you said, for things that bring you joy that you want to talk about, right? And an opportunity for experimentation. I also think this is gold for anyone who runs an agency or has clients or customers. Everybody struggles with content. It's so difficult to figure out where to start. So unless you have a process in place, and even if you do, this is just going to light a fire under what you have happening now.
Well, thanks.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, I sing your praises all the time. And I think we do, as marketers, I can speak for myself, I get pretty hung up on the logistics of the thing, thinking about, oh, well, so-and-so says I need to do this, and oh, I need to make sure I'm hitting these numbers, and I'm sending out a certain number of posts, and I'm getting my email out consistently. But it's all about that joy in the thing. It's all about having fun. And more importantly, it's about listening to your clients and listening to your base. And fielding those things. So I'm not asking a question. I'm just rambling. So,
well, you know what? But it's that relatability piece, right? Like it's just, I don't know. It's like, we've got this great framework, and, at the same time, we can so be the shoemaker's children has no shoes, right? You're busy working on your business. I mean, we have a content planner, and we do that every now and then. And it's a time thing, but we get back at it. I can't do that judgment anymore.
How much time do you guys spend each week on creating your own content?
I don't know that I track it. As an example, though, so I'm just going to jump in, Jody. I don't know if you've got an idea, but like the newsletter, right? That's something that we discussed. We talk twice a week. We've got a set meeting, and then we talk after our agency calls. And then of course we're like texting every day, but it's, we spent, I don't know, a handful of calls, like not full calls, but saying, what do we want this to look like? What's it going to be? And then Jody designed the template. And then we sat and wrote the content together, like the first newsletter, and we edited it and stuff. Jody says she's slower at that. Well, our lives are, she's still got a full business, and this is all I do, right? Is the planner and Kim Doyal now. But, and it's just, it really depends. But I'll tell you, like Monday I wrote, and I had started that 50 lessons in 50 years, right? For my 50th birthday. So I started that post, and my ego gets in the way. I'm like, oh, I'm going to zip this out. I'm like, okay, maybe come up with the 50 things first. So then I was like, back it up. So I started the list, and then it took me all of Monday. Like, it's a 5,500 word post. So I wrote it out, and then I recorded it, and then I edited it. So that was kind of my day. Monday was this. And I still, like, I know I need to go back and probably add some internal links and other episodes you might enjoy, but I was like, I need to get this out, so it totally depends. And the truth is, Tara, like, I love it. Like, I really enjoy doing it. I don't care what it takes. It takes what it takes. Sorry.
I was going to say, that's a big ass day of a 5,500 word post, and then kind of spinning that off into a video. That's a pretty tall order. I think
it was an hour and 20-minute recording. Yeah. Straight.
Major. That's major. Okay, we have a couple questions. Okay. So Catalina asks, what's your piece of advice for those who want to start but don't have the courage or don't know exactly what's the right direction?
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, you're not going to know the direction until you start publishing. Like, I live by this clarity through the doing, right? That's how I have figured all this stuff out. So I would sit, and I don't know if you guys are familiar or ever listened to James Altucher, right? He does this. He's an author, and he's like, he comes up with 10 ideas every day. So start there, Catalina. Like, I would write, like, what are 10 things you've learned in your business? Just what are 10 things that, like, stick out to you? Because I think when you start from that, what it did for you, what you learned from it, and also to be on the other side, like, I'm a big believer in storytelling when you've gotten through the thick of it. If it's been a little bit of a challenging situation, like, I'm not a dumper of drama. And so I think start with a list, and you're going to find out, but then you have to make that commitment to yourself that you're going to hit publish. It's not going to be perfect. And then you have to share it. You have to ask for feedback, post it in Tara's group. No, post it in contact, whatever. But say, look, you guys, I finally did this. But I would start with something that gets you excited. And, if you want, tell me your business. If you're up for, like, what your business is, your niche, and we'll go from there. I'm totally happy to, like, hot seat this kind of off the cuff.
And I think thinking about frequently asked questions that come in from clients and customers, that's a good place to start too. That's what I kind of recommend to some of my clients. Yeah.
Well, that's Marcus Sheridan. That's not Catalina has a great book called They Ask You Answer. He he turned his business around during the economic crash in 2008 by he cut his marketing budget. He's like, I'm just going to start answering questions that my customers have. Fiberglass pool company, so it really is like, what are people asking? And, what I thought about is, I don't know how objective I am because I'm so far into this that I prefer the storytelling.
Storytelling is massive. Storytelling is huge. It's it's that emotional component. That's what drives us. That's what hooks us. That's what gets us emotionally invested in what someone has to say. Erica has a question in here. She says, I'm trying to find out how this translates to my business. Is this granular level of planning still useful if you're not necessarily strictly a content creator, if you're spending a fair amount of client time? This from a consultant who, like Christina, figured out how to solve my own problem, and now I'm sharing my skills with my clients. So Erica, you're asking about the content creators planner specifically, I would imagine.
So, well, my thought on that is, if you don't mind me, just I'm going to assume
go for it.
Is go granular and see what that schedule looks like for you, right? Because the truth is, like, as an example, unless you can do this off the cuff, right? So, like, quick example, that podcast I did, that's 50 pieces of micro content. I've got 50 lessons, right?
That's right.
50 pieces of micro content. Repurposed. I could pull a quote out of some of those lessons individually, and now I've got 100. Right? Those are micro pieces of content. So I think it depends on where you're at and in terms of bandwidth, right? So you may not have the bandwidth which again, Jody and I don't totally have the bandwidth, but you do it and you keep doing it. But I do think it's important to get granular and look at it, because if you're not producing content that's based on your business goals, it's a waste of time to begin with. Right? And so you have to do that clarity piece of, what are my business goals? What can I create to support it? Do I have calls to action? And I'm going to tell you, go look at one of Neil Patel's posts, right? He's a big, huge SEO blogger guy. he'll have 14 calls to action in one blog post. I'm not saying do that, but if you're, a little bit nervous about doing it too much, I can guarantee you're probably not doing it enough. So I think the beauty of the granular piece, whether or not you use it for 90 days or you get a planner and you say, I'm going to use this and see what I can accomplish. Until you have that data, until you actually apply it and think it through, and you'll find it starts shifting your, it starts shifting the path in general about how you spend your time, what you're doing and where you're doing it. It's kind of like that. It's tough with like paid traffic as an example, because you get results or you don't, and you get data instantly. Content takes a little bit more time, but man, it starts paying off and you can leverage it forever. So I do think it's valuable, whether you do it once or you do it every quarter. It helps you get clear.
And it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
And it can continue to drive traffic.
Yeah.
And if it's valuable, it's going to continue to bring in that value. And you're right. I always say that content is a long game. It's going to take a little while to find that audience and to pull in that data. Catalina says, am I reading? Yes, that's an old one. Jody says the plan can be simple too. It doesn't have to be as big as the example shown.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a 12-month planner.
No.
Right? No, it's
not. A 90-day planner.
90-day planner.
Yeah. But again, you guys, like, plan out 90 days or plan out 30 days. And then in 90 days, plan out another 30 days. Like, you get to decide how this works for you. We just want you looking at it with a framework and understanding how the pieces fit together. So, and we didn't do a year. First of all, it's 100 pages as a 90-day calendar. It would have been like, a Yellow Pages phone book. But also, like, look at stuff changes.
Yeah. Right.
And this year is the best example of that.
I have one quick question for you. This is a little bit off topic. Have you ever played with a Rocketbook before, Kim?
I think, is that the
Jody
one where
says she has one? Okay.
I think I got one through their Kickstarter or Indiegogo, whatever. And the pen, it was, I don't know if the version I had was not great. There's two types of books, I think. Jody, I didn't know you had a Rocketbook. Like, I'm supposed to know everything she owns. What the hell? Why didn't you tell me? Was it a Rocketbook? Right? Is it, and you can take a picture and you put the notes into your phone with it?
Yeah. So for you guys who aren't familiar, a Rocketbook, it's my new favorite thing because I'm a note taker and I love to put things, I need that tactile component, and I like to take notes when I'm meeting with clients, but I was leaving sheets of paper everywhere and there were Post-its and like scrap paper and it was not the most organized. So you can write it out. It's reusable. Jody, that's right. You can wipe it off with a paper towel and restart.
I had the microwave one. That's why it sucks.
So there's a microwave one where it wipes the slate clean. But I'm just thinking, like, what if you partnered with Rocketbook and you could have like a reusable version of the content calendar?
We would totally be down for that. And there's another.
Just saying.
Jody's all, oh, yeah. Like, trust us. The thing is, like, we're letting this thing, like, just, she goes, I'm on it, evolve and flow organically, right? Like, we're so open to it. And I think there's another content planner out there, but it's like, I think we're the only ones that have a strategy and a framework incorporated into it.
Yeah. There's
version 2 will be out next year that we're adding stuff to it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like 90-day plans and email marketing and a little bit more. So
yeah, I mean, once you have a plan in motion and you have it figured out and it's working for you, you're off to the races, right? And then you just tweak it and figure out, I think I hear your fur babies.
Sorry.
No,
I'm going to mute myself. Okay.
You're good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Am I like big screen? I don't want to be big screen.
No, you're good. I don't see your big screen. I see both of us.
Okay, cool.
Erica says it's like the bullet journal and a rocket journal. And content planning creator had a baby. Yeah. It's like a menage a trois of fabulous content making things. Right.
Well, and the thing, and it's like there's all these fun, like we talked about doing like a sticker tab. So you can actually do tabs on the like doing a sticker sheet with tabs, right? Yeah. You can do that, or doing a bookmark. And there's all these fun extra things that you can add on. I swear I thought there was another electronic book, not the Rocket book, but something else. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, I mean, it's tough because we have definitely seen the highs and lows with this last 6 months of the business. Like, we did a webinar in January, how we went from a failed Kickstarter, because Kim thought it would be brilliant to do a Kickstarter in December, to over 40,000 in sales, right, in a month. And so, and it went up, it's come back down, so the point being, it's like, this has been such a journey and we still feel like we're just getting started. And it's actually 2 years ago in August of this year is when I was like, hey, Jody, you want to do this thing with me?
Oh, I was going to say, it has not been long. It has not been long at all, because you were just launching this thing when I met you. But yeah, it was about a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't actually have the final, the one I brought to that talk. And you guys, a side note, just to tell you this, like Jody and I connected online 6-7 years ago now, Jody. We hadn't even met. We didn't meet in person till last March. And we had launched this whole thing. We had never met in person till last March.
That's incredible.
It's really fun. Amazing. Yeah.
So where does Jody live? In Badger? And she says you met in Baggage.
We met in Baggage Claim. Jody is outside of Atlanta.
That's awesome.
I know. And we met at a mastermind. Like, we got invited and we brought planners for everybody. And that's where we got feedback. And it was just like, so that we're like, let's go do this together. And then I went out to Atlanta in January and almost died in an Uber. But I went to Atlanta in January and we spent, our goal intention was to do some planning for a few days together. And I stayed with her. And of course we dove into a Facebook ad nightmare. But then the goal was for Jody to come to Boise, but we're trying to not give each other COVID. So we're going to wait.
Yeah. You might want to wait until we have that under control. I know. Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, this is like an internet love story of sorts. It makes me very happy. That's incredible. And here you are. And and I think you're such a great example of getting right in there and trying it and digging in and making sure that you're having a good time and you're helping people. That's it.
Yeah, you guys, I definitely know that strategy and framework are key, but I also I did not go all in a business to create a job. I have fun. I'm just going to say it again. The less I attach to the outcome, the better it does. When I enjoy the process, I really have fallen in love with mastery and getting better. And I don't know if Jody gets embarrassed by this now, but I'm truly, she helps me up my game. She's very good at everything she does. And so it's okay, no, all of a sudden I'm having fun. Yeah, let's edit this for a fourth time. maybe not a fourth time, but it's really getting in there. And so here's an example, and I'll tell you guys this, we spent 6 hours, that crazy Zoom call was doing the Story Brand by Donald Miller, right? We spent 6 hours doing that. Therefore, when we launched our ads without an agency in May of 2019, we started with $10 a day. We were profitable from day one, literally, because we weren't ninja at scaling and incrementing. And, we tested a couple things. I mean, we definitely know more now. Jody knows way more than I do, but we knew our audience. We wrote and it's still to this day, the copy that we wrote, the creative that we did, the targeting that we picked has outperformed all the agency work. Because we took the time to do that behind the scenes. And yeah, we are awesome. We are awesome, Jody.
You guys are awesome.
We took the time. So you guys enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. It makes the reward that much sweeter.
Absolutely. That's right. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to be here, Kim. This is incredible. I'm so grateful that you agreed to come in and hang out and chat with us and share all of this good stuff. Again, you guys, do you want to put actually, I'm going to share it in the group, the link to your Content Creators Planner.
Thank you.
And encourage everyone to check that out. Highly recommend, if you're in the Concord, Mass area, you can come check out mine before you buy your own if you want. I have it here. You can see it.
From 6 feet? I'm just kidding.
Right. It's mask up, get your gloves, do your thing. Kim, you and I need to connect separately sometime soon. Absolutely. I would love to just catch up with you.
Yeah.
Jody, it's great to meet you virtually, and I hope you guys have an awesome weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Bye, y'all. Is it ending? What did I do?
I don't know.
There's no webinar.